Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine to brief you on. So, we have this huge report that just came out today from the Institute for the Study of War in regards to North Korea that says thousands of North Korean troops reportedly training inside of Russia, and apparently they have the potential to be deployed to Ukraine possibly by the end of the year. This is very, very big news. We continue to hear over the last week that North Korea is more and more involved in this war against Ukraine, fighting on behalf of Russia. We just had reports just about like in the last week or so that apparently six North Korean officers were killed on the eastern side of Ukraine in an attack. I think it was some sort of missile attack. Six North Korean officers were killed, and I think we had three other soldiers, North Korean soldiers, that is, that were wounded. And I think in total there was somewhere around 20 soldiers that were killed in that attack. And apparently, this was the first time we had actual confirmation that North Korean soldiers had been killed inside of Ukraine. So, this also confirms, if that happens to be true, that obviously North Korean soldiers are operating on the eastern side of Ukraine in the occupied regions that Russia's currently controlling. So, I want to talk some more about this today, as it's obviously a huge report. We're actually going to go over another report that just came out a couple days ago as well in regards to this. So let me jump on over here just for a minute and let's talk about this from The Guardian. North Koreans deployed alongside Russian troops in Ukraine, sources say. Engineers said to be supporting missile launches and reports of North Koreans killed near Donetsk. Okay, again, so it's mentioning here that these North Korean officers were killed. And then also, apparently, there's engineers over there supporting the ballistic missile launches of the Can-23 ballistic missiles that Russia's using against Ukraine. Apparently, these North Korean troops are supporting these launch systems. Okay, so it says down here, North Korean military engineers have been deployed to help Russia target Ukraine with ballistic missiles, and fighters operating in occupied areas of the country have already been killed, senior officials in Kiev and Seoul said. There are dozens of North Koreans behind Russian lines in teams that support launcher systems for Kan-23 missiles, a source said in Ukraine told The Guardian. Okay, so this is very, very big news too. This is also proof that apparently the North Koreans are there operating the Kan-23 ballistic missile systems that are firing these ballistic missiles into Ukraine repeatedly. We've seen lots of attacks of these Kan-23s being used. We've even reported to you guys recently that multiple arsenals inside of Russia have been destroyed, apparently housing some of these Kan-23 missiles. So this is once again even more proof that the North Koreans are actively involved inside of this war against Ukraine, fighting on behalf of Russia and supporting their army. So now I want to go over this report more that came out in regards to the Institute of the Study of War. This is on Ukrainska Pravda. Several thousand North Korean soldiers training in Russia, potential deployment to Ukraine possible. Okay, so we're talking thousands of North Korean soldiers that are currently training in Russia. Okay, so this is very interesting. We know that dozens, if not maybe hundreds, who knows, of apparent North Korean engineers are operating already inside of Ukraine, supporting the Kan-23 ballistic missiles. And then also, now we're hearing that thousands of North Korean soldiers could be deployed to the front line or very close to the front line, at least in eastern Ukraine, in the occupied regions, excuse me. So it says here the Institute for the Study of War has reported that North Korean soldiers are already fighting in Ukraine, and several thousand North Korean military personnel are undergoing training in Russia, with the possibility that they may be deployed to the line of contact in the future. The source was Institute for the Study of War. According to a report by Washington Post, South Korean and Ukrainian officials have stated that North Korean soldiers are fighting alongside Russian forces in Ukraine. A Ukrainian intelligence official noted that some North Korean officers are present, observing Russian forces and analyzing the battlefield in areas occupied by Russia. However, Ukraine has not yet detected any North Korean military units actively operating within the country. The Ukrainian official reportedly added that several thousand North Korean infantry personnel are training within Russia, and that the Russian military command could deploy them to the front line in Ukraine by the end of 2024. Look at that. To Russian border areas to free up Russian reserves to fight within Ukraine. Okay, so this is very big. by the end of 2024, that's literally in the next couple months, right? They could be sent to the border areas to free up some of Russia's reserves. That way, the reserve troops can head over to the front line in Ukraine, potentially allowing them to push further into Ukraine as well. If they have more troops, instead of having the reserves stay in the background, they could have these North Korean troops fill some of these reserve positions. That would allow many of their troops to be freed up and head over to the front line and fight. This could be really bad for Ukraine moving forward at the start of next year if this war continues into 2025, okay? So, South Korean and Ukrainian officials have recently indicated that North Korean military personnel are likely operating in the occupied parts of Donetsk Oblast. A Ukrainian missile strike near the city of Donetsk is also reported to have killed several North Korean military officials. The extent of the North Korean force grouping that Russia could deploy to the front line or that could free up Russian forces along the border is unclear, but these scenarios may also aid Russian efforts to commit additional manpower to priority offensive operations in Ukraine and prolong the culmination of the Russian Summer Offensive 2024 offensive operation. Russian Summer 2024 offensive operation, ISW pointed out. The deployment of North Korean troops to Ukraine could present opportunities for Russia to exploit, depending on factors such as the quality, organization, positioning, and ability of North Korean forces to work effectively with Russian troops. Okay, so definitely it looks like North Korea is heavily involved in this war now. Obviously, if they are operating some of the KN-23 ballistic missiles systems in eastern Ukraine, that's already huge, or at least in the border of Russia. That means that they are actively firing these on Ukrainian troops, assuming that that information is true. And then also, if these North Korean troops are training in Russia, most likely they could be trained to help out the Russian troops on the front line. Now, would they fight with actual weapons? Very possible. Maybe it could come down to that if this dragged out long enough. But at the bare minimum, it looks like these North Korean troops could potentially be used to free up some of the positions from the Russian reserves in the back line, and allow these troops to move forward to the front and pick up their attacks on eastern Ukraine, because we know that Russia definitely is very focused on the eastern portion of Ukraine. But then also we have that the Kursk offensive right now with the Ukrainians over there, and we heard that 50,000 troops had been pulled to that region. These are Russian troops to fight against the Ukrainians over there. So obviously that second front could be helping, but the addition of these North Korean troops showing up could allow more Russian troops to land back on the front line in eastern Ukraine and put more pressure over there. So it looks like the Ukrainians could be having some real issues over here on the eastern front very soon when these North Korean troops effectively start showing up, if they do, to the eastern front and relieving some of these positions for those Russian troops, the reserves in the back, to move to the front line. Okay, so very, very big news in regards to this that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about the North Koreans being involved in this war between Russia and Ukraine as we move forward. And it definitely makes me wonder how NATO is going to respond to this. Are they going to feel like they need to get involved now, or what's going to happen here? I mean, obviously, we haven't heard much coming out from NATO recently. These are mostly just reports coming out from like the Institute for the Study of War and mainstream news reporting this. So let's see what happens and how things develop over here in regards to this. But definitely a major development to hear about North Korean troops becoming more heavily involved with this war between Russia and Ukraine. But that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.